time to be a smart ass.
If you wish to avoid being problematic, you should play video games that are like this.
You win.
I swear to God, unless the character is a fucking square in the middle of the screen, or it's a first-person perspective with absolutely zero resemblance to a woman at all, she won't be satisfied. And I seriously think that is her preference. And it should be everybody else's too, I guess. You need to have zero fucking tolerance to play a game using a character that resembles anything with a vagina. Why?
Because it's sexist!
Oh, don't you talk about my boxes! I like boxes!
You are seriously running out of ideas to make videos, aren't you? We should be offended by the way this character sits down because it's feminine. Like the way you so daintily cross your legs. So ladylike. Shame on you, Anita, for having nice posture. As if having a feminine posture is somehow degrading and demeaning to all women. Well, guess what? You do not speak on behalf of all women, alright, you egomaniac? Your personal preferences and taste in video games should not dictate how the rest of the world looks at video games. That if something doesn't meet your approval, it's automatically bad. Who the fuck do you think you are? And I can safely say that I think people are making a huge mistake when they're listening to you. I'm sure you guys have seen this clip about 150 times, but I don't care, it has to be shown here. Because here's the proof that in the beginning, you did not like video games.
I'm not a fan of video games. I actually had to learn a lot about video games in the process of making this. I would love to play video games, but I don't want to go around shooting people and ripping off their heads, and it's just gross.
Yeah, Anita, because you would know. All video games consist of grotesque violence, depraved blood, guts, and sex. Like this fucked up shit right here.
Shooting people and ripping off their heads, and it's just gross. Gross.
Horrible. Absolutely disgusting. Game developers are some sick sons of bitches, aren't they? Have they no shame? Have they no common decency? Good God. Games need to be changed, don't they? And who better to make snap judgments on video games and the media better than this woman? The most influential, positive role model we could possibly ask for. She doesn't express personal opinions, she speaks the facts. With her hard-working extended research that's beyond reproach, it should never be questioned. Bullshit! Why do you even post these videos? You won't let people rank them, you won't let people comment on them, you don't want to hear what anybody has to say, yet we still speak up because you won't fucking stop this bullshit. Yes, I call bullshit. I think your channel is bullshit, and I think you are bullshit. Now, before you go back to the UN to accuse me of hate speech or harassment, calm your ass down, princess. Fuck no, this isn't hate speech, this isn't harassment, and this is not me bullying you. This is me expressing my opinion, and my opinion is, I think you're full of shit. And I have every right to say so. Free speech, motherfucker. Clearly something that you don't approve of. Do our opposing arguments hurt your little fifis? Since you specialize in bias propagandizing, why don't you just fucking move to North Korea? I'm sure you'd fit in just fine in that communist utopia. But you're obviously not gonna stop, you're not gonna turn things around, you're not gonna undo the damage, but you just keep going on and on and on and on!
Women in video games. Hypersexualized women, decorative virtual sex class. Women in gaming, hypersexual creatures. Objectification, damsel in distress, objectification, damsel female characters, objectification, damsel in distress, sexually objectifying women, damsel in distress, non-playable sex objects, patronizing damsel joke, objectification, one big sexist fat joke, sex objects, damsels in distress, problematic objectification, sexual objectification, women as objects, reward for sex and sexuality, sexual function, the sexual automaton being consumed by the white or western man. The ironic humor is just an excuse used by developers.
The only person who cares is you, Anita! Nobody thinks like you, and if they do, they're out of their fucking minds! You are out of your fucking mind! Do you not have something more constructive or meaningful to do with this stupid fucking channel of yours? And all this goddamn money people keep sending you for what reason I will never understand? This is the best you could come up with? This? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking serious? For the love of God, will you stop already?
I'm an expert on the depictions of women in video games. I know my stuff, and I'm pretty good at what I do. Hypersexualized female characters. These women exist for players to exploit or experiment with for their own amusement. Award players with achievements or trophies for sexual conquest. Male entitlement is a pervasive problem in our culture today. As video games are constructed around these formal input-output systems, solve all problems with violence, games don't just entertain. Intentional or not, they always express a set of values, reinforcing ideas about male privilege and entitlement to women's sexuality, encouraging you to ogle and objectify the character.
You have to point it all out.
My analysis is very well researched. Input-output system, sexual conquest, male entitlement,
Shut the fuck
Perhaps I was a little rash. I didn't mean to lose my temper and explode twice into full-on Super Saiyan Michael Bay mode on everyone. But all this shit aside, Anita, there's games out there for everybody. Even you. You don't have to play the violent games. You don't have to play the games that have women in sexy outfits or have their butt overemphasized in the middle of the screen. Let's be real for a minute. I've played video games my entire life. I fucking love video games so much. I know this sounds corny, but they've basically saved my life growing up. They helped me cope with really hard times when I was younger, and they helped me develop and expand my imagination. It's my hobby, it's my passion, it's what I know best, and it's how I connected with other people. People that love the same things I love, and how I made friends. For someone to tamper with it, for someone to try to change it to their liking, it really bothers us. That's why people are so outraged by these attempts to change things that don't need to be changed, just because you don't approve of them or you don't understand them. And these critics, I guess you can call them critics, like to flatter themselves and say that the reason that we object to their opinions is because we're sexist and we're racist and we're easily impressionable and we can't think for ourselves, shaming game developers and demonizing gamers in general, adding insult to injury, and it simply isn't fair to treat people like that, to look down at your nose at them with this holier-than-thou attitude. It's rare, but there's some things she brings to light that I could partially agree on. Mostly things about diversity in protagonists, and the damsel in distress cliche has been done to death, but to me, it's just good old-fashioned entertainment. I grew up loving on the idea of rescuing Zelda and Princess Peach, because it was cute, it was just innocent fun, and it warmed my heart as a kid, and it still has that effect to this day. But she overanalyzes things, completely twisting them around to appear degrading or sexist, insulting, and patronizing as if they offend all women on a psychological level. Well, I'm a woman, and I've played video games for over 27 years and I've never once been offended by them. Because I know they're just games. I even knew this as a child. And now I'm grown up and that hasn't changed. I can differentiate fantasy and reality. I don't compare people to fictional characters. I don't treat people differently in real life just because I did questionable things in a video game. It's not real. We're not all insane or perverted or prone to sociopathy, contrary to what people like Anita constantly say. She's insulting everyone's intelligence with these fabricated accusations and outrageous claims. I personally am a firm believer in the phrase, to each his own. Never judge someone by what they wear, by what kind of music they listen to, by what kind of TV shows they watch, or what kind of video games they like to play. Because there's no accounting for taste. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing to be ashamed of. And whatever things you're a fan of, that's nobody's business but your own. This is what makes the world interesting. So we like what we like. You can like what you want to like. You want to do a series about women's history? Go for it. It might even be good. Who knows? Just don't do it and demonize any groups in the process, because it just makes you look like a prejudiced asshole. And for God's sakes, be adult enough to accept criticism and don't call all criticism harassment. And if you want to be influential, stick to the shit you know. Stick to the kind of things that you like, personally. And leave ours alone. What do you care if we like those kind of games? Who are you to judge us? Who are you to judge games? You're not even a gamer! I've been giving this whole meaningful, thought-provoking, motivational speech to this charlatan poster child of a garden variety fembot as if I could actually talk sense into her. Sure. As if she'd actually listen or come to her senses somehow. You guys have commented numerous times in part 1, informing me that she doesn't actually play these games. She steals footage from other Let's Play channels, which I already knew. Which would explain why her channel was terminated recently. But even I knew that wouldn't last, because this woman has her head so far up YouTube and Twitter's executives' asses, they wouldn't dare keep her channel down because sexism. So she got it back up in less than 2 hours. Mustn't oppress this woman, for her wrath is strong and her followers are even stronger! Too bad the same amount of haste and urgency is never applied to honest, hard-working channels that actually deserve it. But I digress. You see, all these Anita shenanigans never really had anything to do with video games or feminism. Quite the contrary. She is what's referred to as a shill. And a shill is someone who wants to advertise something. And what she's advertising is nothing less than false rape culture and misandrist preaching to appeal to impressionable social justice warriors and feminists that look up to her as some kind of prophet or all-knowing guide to the promised land, when in fact, she's a wolf in sheep's clothing. And her obedient little lambs are more than happy to throw away their money to appease her because it makes them feel good. Yeah. She spreads controversy to sponge off stupid people for money. A lot of people do that these days. And normally, I wouldn't care. But what I won't do is not speak up and defend my hobby and what I love, when people like her attempt to limit free speech and demonize gamers, entertainment, and all other forms of art and media that I enjoy, when she has no fucking clue what she's talking about. She is a fun sucker. She tries to suck the fun out of everything I adore, and this shit isn't going unnoticed. People will continue to speak up. We have that right. But when all's said and done, we know what this is all about, don't we? Yes! It's all about money. It's all about the G's! Just ask Thunderfoot. Cha-cha-cha-ching! Anita's a televangelist! Praise the Lord! Give me your monies and I will show you righteousness! Deliver us from evil from these demons of sex appeal in video games! Amen! Hula hoop earrings and hair dye is expensive, don't you know? Click on the link below and give me your monies! Behold your savior! Hallelujah!